room is now open. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for June 6th.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have a new public hearing for 770 Howard Street for the request of determination of applicability for proposed installation of 4 pickleball courts, access pathways, and associated grading. So I'll read that in. Under the Wetlands Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40 MGL, as amended, the West Bridgewater Wetlands Protection Bylaw and Rules and Regulations, the Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on June 20th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. in the McDonald Brown Conference Room, 65 North Main Street, on request for a determination of applicability at 70 Howard Street for installation of 4 pickleball
Yes.
courts, access pathways, and associated grading. All right, and it's open.
Good evening. My name's Dan Saley, engineer with CHA. I'm covering for Mike Mooner today. So I guess what I'll do is just kind of give you a brief description of the project. So it's at 70 Howard Street, pretty much right down the street. The existing
You guy?
The existing conditions here, I was able to highlight just kind of the wetland flagging in green. In blue is the 50-foot buffer, and in purple is the 100-foot buffer. So currently, right now, it's pretty much an open grassy area. Tree line is kind of back towards this way. The plan that we're proposing is 4 brand new pickleball courts, asphalt pavement with some sidewalk connections to the parking lot and to the southern building. In terms of grading and drainage on the site, our impact is going to be in this northern west corner over here. There's probably going to be a little bit of tree removal in that corner. In terms of grading and drainage, the pickup court itself is going to have a high point here. Water is going to be drained on either side, and there's going to be a drainage line that's going to pick it up, and it will discharge it down away from the wetlands toward the south portion of the page there.
So all the way up to the 100-foot buffer, is
Yep.
that, what is that, what area, is that just like open area?
The whole thing?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you come down here with the driveway comes down here, the parking lot. This is pretty much all open. You got your existing building over here, and this is pretty much all grass, right?
Where the old septic system area is, next to the senior center, that grassy area near the Howard, where the
Correct.
Howard School parking lot is,
Yeah.
that's the area that this is planned for. So it's pretty much all grassy lawn.
Yeah, right here I think is the existing septic. It's mounted up like right here.
So it's gonna be just on top of it?
It's the old septic system.
So it's gonna be on,
Right, the only thing that's there are some drainage connections for the new system that they have to work around and avoid.
Correct.
But the septic system, what's left of it's there is non-functioning.
so what's that, yeah, right there.
That looks like an existing old maintenance building, maybe for the septic. I'm not really sure. It looks like it's locked.
That's the white building that's out behind. next
Is
to the
that being
pylon.
used for anything?
It might be an access or old pump station or something.
That's just,
For
Yeah,
septic, yeah, it seems like it hasn't been used in a while. It's, the doors are rusted. We are leaving that alone though, so we don't plan on demoing that.
so,
I'm not happy with the removal of the trees. What kind of trees are they?
There's no trees in the area. The only
It
thing
said
would be
right
the
there.
very back
Maybe in the corner.
What do you mean maybe? That's trees there, aren't there trees?
Well, the tree line, I mean, this is pretty much, 95% of it is just a grass area. There might be, depending on the grading here.
if you
there
see
might
it,
be a
if you
couple
find
trees.
it.
It's hard to tell, we don't have the tree line up on here, but the tree line does come through here a little bit.
When I went out and checked the wetland line, most of what was there was,
Should be taken down and moved over.
some of it was invasive material and some of it was just shrub dogwoods. So there really wasn't any real trees per se.
Okay.
So,
So you're okay with that?
Yes, yep.
All
so
right.
what about if you could move everything over? If we asked to take down that old, whatever that building is there, and move everything over
The
a few
problem that
feet?
we've ended up with is the pipes and the lines that are there for the septic system from the police station, the library, and the senior center all join in that area. And
That are,
engineer this to fit in,
that are being used
that are
now?
currently in service. So to wedge this in there, they've got very little wiggle room to
And
move
there's
a lot around.
What's the reason for 4 courts? Is there a regulation, or is it just something
That's
that,
pretty much the maximum we're able to kind of fit in this area here.
so,
To the-
And normally when there's when you, I guess, have pickleball tournament,
Gotta
it's a
have
series
teams
of
like that.
4 teams or 4 rounds, so they'd be using all 4 at once.
so 2 wouldn't work?
We do 2 typically, but usually it's in 2, 4, or 6 is kind of how that's kind of grouped together. Depending on how much space they
So
got.
this is an old system
Yes,
that's still in the ground, so that would just be built on top of that.
right.
So if you, how far you think you're gonna go down to basically, for,
Well, we're not really,
or you just
we're not
skimming
cutting
off
it
the
all, but I
top?
mean, pretty much it's like a asphalt pavement's probably like an 8-inch section. That's how far we probably go down this.
Depth.
Yeah, in terms of depth, yeah.
So how far do you think those pipes are down?
They're down way further than that. If they're
Oh.
still there, we don't know exactly whether there was anything removed when the new piping was installed for the new system that's over behind where the soccer field is at Howard. When that was installed, the piping got redone, and that's when this went out of service.
So that's why those pipes in that
So,
white building should be way down then.
Right.
So I would, I mean,
So
I would
putting
like,
something
to-
on top of it's really,
I would like to see that, if you're gonna do it, stay a little bit out of the, instead of removing the trees, get a little bit more out of the 50-foot.
I mean, it's minimal over here.
Yeah, but I mean, you're in the 50-foot,
Correct, yes.
so if you could, would that be a issue to,
we can check and see
Demolish
exactly
that?
how much we can
I
really
mean-
move it over. It's really the fact that you can't put it on top of the pipes for the septic system.
Yeah, for where we can move, I believe we're
Over
able
and
to
up.
kind of go a little bit paved south and towards this way, so we can kind of move it, kind of maybe a little bit towards down and into the right.
and what's the width of the pickleball courts, each one? Or, well, you figure,
Just, it's about,
to
you're
regulation.
about, like 30, 40 feet.
So there's like 60 feet then?
Give or take, yeah.
I got a question. It's in the 50-foot. Why can't it go in the 50-foot at all?
Well, we try to stay out of the 50-foot.
Yeah, but we're not. There's a lot of it.
Right, but this was an old
This-
septic system.
and
It
it's
was already
previously
It's all
disturbed.
filled in. It's all way above where anything was originally.
It is grass, so I mean, that's one thing that's good, so it's not like
so
taking.
it's already disturbed, it's not like they're disturbing a new 50 in the.
But I would like to see a little bit more out of the 50.
And they were trying to look for a facility for something like this that was outside of the school system. So this can be used during school hours and not interfere with the school. That's like the new tennis courts and basketball courts they're planning for the high school. You can't use those during school hours because the kids are there. This was something we were trying to, when the Russo's complex got turned down,
Yeah.
this is part of that other proposal for the rest of the athletic fields that they were looking to
it.
install.
I got a question. How come don't require to remove the old pipes underneath the soil?
Well, there's no reason to it unless something like this happens.
Doesn't that contaminate the soil on it?
If they're not being used,
Yeah, if they're
No.
just being abandoned and,
it's like any pipe.
yeah, if they're gonna upgrade or replace, I mean,
You can just.
that's why I'm saying I can't say for certain if they're even still there, because when they put that new septic system lines in, they may have had to have removed the system that was there at the time, because they were digging it all up to put the new connections in. So it might not even be there.
Okay. Just checking.
I mean, I don't know, I'd hate to say it, like, just do 2 instead and keep it out of the 50 altogether, but I don't know how this is gonna,
So, just with regard to the perspective runoff, I see that it's coming out of the bottom right corner, right? And the idea, it's open to daylight, so it's just kind of draining from the French drain around those courts.
Correct,
And because that looks like it's pretty much right up against the parking lot for the senior center. So is,
The bottom part?
yeah. So what are we, in terms of, like, are we just adding to the amount of runoff onto that pavement? And then
Which
where's
goes-
that all going?
There's catch basins in the parking lot.
So it's
So
gonna
at
be
least it's gonna be
attached.
captured and treated.
And those are big enough to handle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to see, I don't know, this is my opinion, I would like to see maybe it could be moved out of the 50 a little bit more over and down or over and up. And have, see about taking down that building if it's possible, because if it's not being used for anything, and they wanna put something like that there, clean it up and make it,
Yeah, but that, honestly, Lee, that really doesn't look, that building does not look that far from the parking lot.
what do you mean?
I don't even know what the scale, but like, that picture,
30
Mhm.
feet-ish.
Yeah,
you know, that's not that.
but I mean, the pickleball courts can kinda like go over
Yeah.
that where it is.
Cause you were saying you would only have to take a couple trees down in the upper left corner, right? Is that what you were saying?
And shrubs, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, this is
So
the
this-
only place you see it where there's gonna be disturbance, and not, everything else is in the lawn area, which is just grass.
But it's in the 50.
And I don't even know whether it's actually trees.
Yeah,
It's
shrubs.
shrubs.
I
It
think
looks
it's
like
more
shrubs
vegetation.
and stuff.
And looking at it, it looks like the town has mowed at different times back in there. It looks like a lot of it's that
Yeah,
Japanese knotweed that's in that corner, which is a horrible invasive and it takes
right.
decades to get rid of it. That's why I really wasn't overly concerned on that northwest corner.
So that's good to get rid of it anyway.
We'll come right back. Alright.
So I don't know how anybody else feels about moving them or not leaving them in the same spot or,
Well, if I understand what we're saying, is
Mhm.
that because it's already a area that's been dug up and it's okay to go in the 50-foot buffer.
Right.
Mhm.
They're staying away from the wetland line. It's previously disturbed buffer area. It's all grass and was a septic system,
And-
so.
And I think, Lee, if you were to kind of push your issue, I think that would create a lot more issue. Cause it still looks like there may be an active electric meter on that building, as well as there are multiple steel tank covers and stuff in the lawn.
On the top.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I think you might.
See, that was the problem trying to
Pandora's
cite this
box
somewhere
there.
that, I mean, and they had looked going across from the senior center, and that area just, you'd have to take down all those pine trees that are in front of the Howard School.
They were all planted by children of the
Right.
Howard
Yeah, I was
School,
And
like my
gonna
that's-
brother.
say, yeah, I was gonna say, it was, they were all planted.
So that's
by
why we,
kids.
the recreational needs committee came up with, this is the best alternative that we could find that was gonna be the least intrusive to any place.
Okay,
Right.
that's how everybody feels, that's fine, yep.
Okay.
So,
Anybody on Zoom have questions, comments?
No, not at all.
Okay.
okay, so I guess I'll just entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I so move.
All in favor?
Wait a second.
Aye.
Second?
Do you want a
Oh.
second? Second.
It's all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion, entertain a motion to issue a -3 determination.
I so move.
Second.
All in,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the motion to issue a waiver to work in the 50.
Thank you very much.
Make the motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second. Sorry, it was.
No, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all set. All right. Next one up is 2 United Drive.
Can I speak without the DEP file number?
I don't know. You
You know,
can,
but we
but
just can't close it.
Yeah,
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
So I do have the cards. Well, my name's Dave Cleonard from Collins Civil Engineering Group. We do have the cards here. So, this is a redesign of a whole new project for 2 United Drive. It's right at the corner of United Drive and Manley Street. It's down by the Wendy's, further down. So, the original owner came in and he had this big 32,000 square foot building, and we had pavement going right up to the wetlands, and so for some of you who haven't started when we got the limit of work order for Ron Snell, I just brought the agreement here so you can look at it. It's just an agreement that goes with the land, so that you could have an idea, bring you up to speed of what happened a year and a half ago, basically. That allows us to work within the 50 on this property. So just in case you want to review it or look at it, this is at the registry, and the work limit goes with the property. What you get to it?
Thank you.
And I have one with your tablet application. You put it down. So we went through a long drawn-out process of granting a lot of land to the town, and in exchange, Ron Snell got the approval from this board to have a work limit that was defined, and we can work right up to that work limit, which is basically, he made an agreement that he could work right up to the wetlands, basically. That work limit was like 2 feet off the wetland line all the way around. So the first rendition of this was a big building with a lot of parking. I think it was over 80 parking spaces, 32,000 square foot building. Now we're gonna go with a 13,000 square foot building, much smaller. We're reducing the parking, and we're pulling almost all the pavement out of the 50. There's gonna be a little bit of pavement inside the 50, but any work we do in the 50 is gonna be moving stockpiles and then stabilization. And that's all, mostly what we're gonna do in 50. In the National Heritage, which there is some National Heritage on here, all we're gonna be doing is removing stockpiles, stabilizing, and planting seed. So, I'll go over the project a little bit here. This, of course, is the existing conditions, and you can see the property line in yellow. There's a lot of lines here because of that. The purple line is the agreed-upon work limit line. And you can see it almost, the green line, it almost runs right along the wetland line. The orange is the 50-foot buffer to the wetland. The red is the 100-foot buffer to the red line, the wetlands. This was delineated by Brook Monroe. It had a ORAD on it, but that was in 2016. But there are pipes and numbers along this whole line. You can go out there and check it. The PVC pipes are set in numbers. This blue line here is the 200-foot rivers front area. There is a river across the street, the Queesit Brook, and so this encompasses the 200-foot RFA. So those are, and then of course we have the, you can barely see it here. Trying to find, the NHESP wildlife area. The only place we're gonna be coming in is right in here. I got 430 square feet of disturbance within the NHESP, but like I said, we're just removing a stockpile there, and we're gonna be seeding. Where it is now compact gravel, we're gonna be regrading loam and seeding. So that's all we're gonna do inside that area. And I have notified Mass Fish and Wildlife, and I'm waiting for their response, but their first response on the original project was that there was no impediment on the NHSP land. So I would think that they would be more inclined to see something like this, which is much less intrusive to the wetlands. So here we have the basic we've got two entrances. We have two-way traffic all the way around the building. You can see here that this is very little pavement inside the 50. We took all this pavement out of the 50 that was originally proposed. We just have a tiny bit, and that's just so we can get around with our 18-wheelers. There's going to be 3 trucks parked on site. They're not going to be 18-wheelers. They're going to be, but they do receive 18-wheelers. There's no manufacturing here. This is it's called EJP, Everett J. Prescott, and what they do is they deal in stormwater devices, PVC devices, wastewater PVC devices, and basically anything that's made out of HDPE pipe. They deal with that, and they deal with a lot of Caldex, which I use for the underground recharge areas. So this is basically outside storage for their business, which will be surrounded by a fence, a 5-foot chain link fence that will have some kind of blockage to it, whether it be the stuff that you weave in between the PVC plastic, or there'll be something there. But the fence will surround the whole area with gate on either side. So the work that we're doing inside the 50 now is basically 90% of just grading and loam and seeding, which right now the gravel goes right up to the wetland. So we're gonna be getting rid of a lot of impervious gravel, and we're gonna be loam and seeding it. And this design, we were taking down some trees in the old design here. This design doesn't, we don't have to take down any trees. It's all vacant. It's all scrub brush and brush. You can go out there and take a look at it. So that is the layout. It's we're only gonna do 31 parking spaces, where in the previous one we had like 86 parking spaces.
What's gonna be done inside the building?
Inside the building is warehouse and office, but there's no manufacturing. It's just getting things packaged, ready to go out to sites. That's it. So they're gonna bring product in, they're gonna unpack it and get it out to sites. No manufacturing on the site.
At the back of the property, with the 2 gates and the chain link fence, what are those, but down, all the way at the back?
All the way at the,
bottom, yeah.
these,
What are those 2?
yeah, these gates here,
Yeah.
there's 2 outlet pipes here. We
Oh.
want access to them because they're gonna mow around them. They're gonna maintain them. So I just put these gates here as access to the 2 drainage points.
I didn't know if that was, is that the
Yeah,
normal,
so I'll
is that
show
the
you-
normal
I'll sh-
delineation for those?
Yeah, I'll show you the, I just put those on there so you can see what the gates that I put there, but I'll show you the drainage plan.
Didn't mean to jump ahead.
So, the septic is gonna go up here, outside the 100. And then we have recharge areas. These are all recharge areas, just like in the previous plan. We're gonna go from, we have inserts for the catch basins to clean, actually 98% of phosphorus, and it cleans, I put all the reports for this device in the stormwater management report. Then we go into these recharge units. Then we have a discharge. We have 3 discharges here, here, and here. On the original one, we had like 6 discharges. Now we can just do it with 3. And they will all be treated per state stormwater requirements. 80% TSS removal, and of course we're dealing with the phosphorus removal with these devices that we put in. These will be double catch basins. There is quite a bit of water going into them, but it will be slowed up and discharged slowly through these pipes. And I guess we're gonna go and work in the 200-foot Rivers Protection Act area, but I keep it to a limited of less than 5% of the total area that's inside the 200. So you can do 5% or 10, or is it 10% or 5,000 square feet, whichever is less. So we're under 5,000 square feet inside the river buffer area. And that's pretty much it. We're just going to really, I mean, it's just gonna clean up the site. We're gonna remove all, there's stockpiles here. There's a stockpile here, which is in the NHSP area that I wanna get rid of, and, loam and seed, and that's the work that we're gonna do there.
Well, I will say one thing. It wasn't for the other one, but I'm glad this one came in. This one's a lot better.
Yeah, this one's, less invasive. You always said there's a better building for it, and who knew?
And I always knew that somebody would have done it.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is a much smaller building than the last one with much less parking area.
And you're gonna make it look better too, the whole lot itself,
Yeah.
which is nice.
And we'll create a buffer with this fence and with the loam and seed, so
Mhm.
there'll be a buffer that's never gonna be used, maintained,
Yeah.
mowed, but never used. And where there is no buffer there at all.
Yeah. Anything to say, Tim?
Are you planning on paving the whole back, or are you gonna leave?
Yeah, the whole back will be
Okay.
paved, and, you know, I mean, it's really just, it's so much easier to control the water when you pave it, because now you can put up berms. When you do a gravel, it's so hard to get channel, and then once you channel it into something, all the gravel goes in. So,
I personally, on these, I like to see the paving more than just impervious surface, cause if there's ever a spill, a leak,
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
it's easier to
Yeah.
contain and maintain it. and
Especially with
get it-
trucks going in and out.
yeah,
Right.
it will definitely, all the catch basins will have sumps and with hoods, so that will definitely maintain.
All
any
the
gas.
oil separating and all that stuff, so. Good.
But, as far as the wetland part of it goes, I think it's a much better plan than we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, it protects more of it, gives us a little bit more of a
What I
benefit.
didn't mention here is, this is a man-made wetland, this is the detention basin for the industrial park, a large detention basin for the industrial park. We do wanna do an access drive, and I call it a gravel, but it's only gonna be gravel where it comes down steep. The rest of it's just gonna be grass. We just want access, this provides a couple of things. It provides us, access to the back, which we gave the land to the conservation, which is really nice. And it also gives us a means to get back here if we have to do any maintenance with these drainage systems. And they have a huge drainage system release dam over here. And I think that in the future, these people that own this property, if they ever have to maintain anything over here, and it's a pretty big outlet structure. It's a big concrete box outlet structure. They could access through here as well. But it's, you know, if you go out there, it's all grass and compact gravel here. I'm gonna just keep it the same way and just make the steep slope, it's a 10-to-1 slope, so it's not that steep. A little bit of a gravel area.
So now, do we have 53?
I am gonna recommend a 53G just for the drainage on this one.
Yeah.
Because it's of the size.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just the-
Good.
But
That's
it shouldn't
perfectly
take anywhere
understandable.
near the process the last one did.
Yeah.
Anybody got questions? Anybody else up there? No, Steve, got any questions? Well, I guess,
Just continue.
we'll have to continue to the next meeting, but I'll entertain a motion to hire a 53G for the project.
I so move.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then entertain a motion to continue to the 18th
I so
of
move.
July.
Yeah, if there's nothing going on there, if we don't have anything back from the engineer, I could just come in and continue it again real fast.
Yeah, and if it's,
But
Okay.
it's, where it's the second meeting in July, I would
Okay,
think
yeah.
by then
By then, we should.
we should be able to
Okay.
have something back.
okay, so, yeah, all right. As you rolls.
I think you have to finish the vote on the July,
Yeah.
because I interrupted, sorry.
I moved it.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Okay, all
all right,
set.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, what was that, July 18th?
Carol,
Yes.
The 18th, yep.
you know what got me the first time when I was like, so moved, I'm like, they're just gonna, the way you
I'm not
said.
supposed to say that?
Oh, no, the way they just caught me off guard, I'm like, oh, just sitting there like, oh, all in favor, and I was like, wait a minute, a second. All right, so. The next one is continued public hearing for 109 Spring Street with DEP for the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for Jack Peters. Applicant wishes to confirm boundaries of wetland resource areas. Anything to say on that one?
Yes, I would like to speak, Commissioner.
Yep.
Named Chris Vandenberg, with Civil Environmental Consultants, on behalf of our client, Jack Peters. I believe Carlos Sculpey previously presented on this plan at the last hearing. I believe I believe the commissioner was going to walk the line to confirm the line, and that's where we are currently at tonight. I can share the screen, do I have access, permission to do that?
Yep.
Show you the plan?
Okay, I will give a report, Tim Hay, Conservation Agent. We did get the DEP file number, so that's
Yep.
all set. I did finally get to finish, and I'm sorry for the lateness today getting out there. The northern part of it, the line looks great. That's everything fine there. The only question I did have on the southernmost section, either side of where the jut out is, and I know it's been 5 years since the last delineation was done, which a lot of that was previously disturbed, mowed. But looking at the vegetation that's there now and looking at the soil that's there, I think we might want to have a relook at where that line is in that area. It just looks.
Do you know what specific, wetland flag numbers?
Hold on one second and let me. Yep.
He also asked to share his screen, so we won't be able to see.
Yeah, if you want to. Me.
If you want to share the screen, go ahead.
Because it says the host disabled participant
Yeah.
screen sharing.
Yeah. Okay, you should be all set now.
Alright. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, trying to, you're talking about the southern area? And where this, assuming, where this little jet.
Yeah, so it's roughly from wetland flag 8 up to the, let's see, 15.
8:15, okay. That will be-
Kind of in that general area. And then again, it kind of wraps around, and it's kind of weird where the jog is, that it's the town of West Bridgewater's property, but, so it's like from 16, and it kind of juts out, but yet it has an upland area that's on the West Bridgewater property. So it's like, for like 16 to 18, but like 17 should be further east of where it is.
Are you saying it should be, the wetland should be more, where the upland portion of town of West Bridgewater is, like that should be more wetland?
No, the West Bridgewater side, I agree that definitely looks like it's upland, but it's in Jack Peters' property, from like, if you took wetland flag number C7 and C6 and just went east with those,
Yep.
it kind of jogs out further.
Okay, so that that little finger poking into Jack Peters' lot, you're thinking that should be expanded more?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, there are areas in the center, but I think it's ponding that Jack has created by Phil that are
Yep.
filling in with cattails and a bunch of other wetland indicators, but that's, I think, a man-made problem because he's trapped the water in it. There's,
This is where they're talking about.
And the other, you were saying, we were just trying to get reconfirmation of this previous approved line, that's what we were trying to do.
right, and I mean, he did have the forestry plan years ago looking at it, and then he looks like he stumped it and cleared it, and when that happened, a lot of the vegetation disappeared.
Yeah.
So trying to establish the wetland line by just the straight vegetation that was there wasn't much to establish it.
Yep.
And now that it's sat for 5 years undisturbed,
Yeah.
Mother Nature's letting itself come back in.
Mhm.
To say from the east side of wetlands C5, I mean, there's a bunch of willows starting to sprout up. But again, I think that might be just something that Jack's created on his property himself, just
Yep.
by the fill that he's brought in. Not necessarily a wetland indicator being there.
And you're talking about wetland flag C5, like wetland flag?
Yeah, C5, if you went straight east of that, along the
Yep.
base of his filled slope that he has there. But again, I think that's just pockets that have been created by the fill that he's brought in.
It's this area right here.
Because the soils really didn't
Just a
look
little jog.
like we were gonna be looking at something that would be a wetland. It was more
Mhm.
along the very southern edge of like, on both sides of that peninsula that juts out.
The northern wetland flag, but the A here.
Those looked okay. I mean, the only
Yep,
thing I would mention is that wetland between Jack and his abutters, and I haven't been able to find research further out on it, if at some point it was created, man-made, and that it was a naturally sloping area that's now been blocked off from getting to the swamp further to the east.
yep.
Because it looks like, I mean, there's some areas that are holding 2 or 3 feet of water in there.
We're talking about on the northern side?
Yeah, and so I'm just concerned with it ponding the way it is, that it can't go anywhere. Because it wasn't moving, it was just stagnant sitting there.
Yeah.
But the wetland line looks fine.
This is Adam Brodsky. You may
Yep.
remember I'm an environmental lawyer working with Mr. Peters. Is this something that we should meet you on site? to
Yes.
Look at
Yep.
together?
Yep. I mean, I'm pretty much available most days. So if Chris and his team want to set something up, I'm more than happy to meet out there.
Thank you very much for making time for us.
But I mean, otherwise, yeah, the center part of it and that western end is upland area that's not a problem.
So it seems like, possibly expanding, wetland flag C8 to wetland flag C15, possibly expanding that somewhere a little bit eastward.
Right. I mean, it just walking it today, there was 2 or 3 inches of standing water in some spots, and it looks like it had been there a while.
Mhm.
So, I mean, again, I know the last time it was probably delineated, it was a mowed area with no real vegetation there to be able to identify. But the amount of sweet fern that's out there, not sweet fern, sensitive ferns were pretty massive. I mean, so they were very happy to have their feet wet. There was some high bush blueberries starting to poke up here and there, so I was questioning just a little bit of where that was.
I think that was all the questions and concerns I had. I guess just kind of waiting on your any comments or questions you might have on
No, I mean, other than having to go back out there and take a,
Yeah, I mean, within
Take
the
a
next
look.
week or two, if you want to set something up, meet with me, we'll get out there and maybe have the answers by the 18th and be able to finish it up.
it. Yep. So that was July 18th?
Yep, July 18th would be our next meeting date.
And then possibly be able to, get the, ORAD issued around that time then, like move some flags and we'll agree to, okay, these flags are usually moved over 5, 10 feet, whatever it may be, and then lock that in hopefully for the July 18th meeting.
Yep.
that would be good.
All right, yeah, we can set that up for you.
Okay, anybody got anything to say? Okay,
Sounds good.
I guess we'll entertain a motion to continue to the July 18th.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All set.
Thank you. Good
All right,
evening.
thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank
Chris.
you very much. Yep,
Thank you. And next one is 40 United Drive,
It says untied.
notice of intent. Huh?
It says untied.
And I can give you an update. They've requested a continuance to August 1st. They still haven't received any reports from the turtle study that was required by Natural Heritage.
So just, I'll entertain a motion to continue to August 1st.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So, what's going on with 307 South Main?
All right, I have received a request for a minor project change for 307 South Main Street. That was the tree company that wanted to put in a contractor's yard. After actually looking at it and seeing where the road cut is already, they're wanting to leave it, the road cut where it is.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really change much on the design, other than the outflow from the overflow of the basin for the wetland area on the side. Doesn't really disturb anything more than what the original plan had. The only other change is they've asked to be allowed to put a well in the back corner, and it would be roughly 26 feet or so, 29 feet off of the wetland line. So it would be in the 50 foot. It would be going in to drill a well and then backing out and leaving it.
Specifically for the building, for them?
For
to
the
use?
building, for their water service. They'd have to trench across Route 28, which, between that and the hookup fees, they said it was, they believe it's cheaper to put a well in. So they were just asking to,
Oh, so they're doing that instead of having to dig it up and, oh,
Right.
yeah.
closing Route 28 to
Yeah.
dig and trench across it and put a water main, because the water line's on the other side of the street there.
True, yeah. Does make sense.
So, and realistically, once the well's in and they're out, except for changing the pump, maybe 30 years from now, they
It's
wouldn't
not
have to be
gonna be,
back in there again.
And it's not that big of a,
Right, I mean, the disturbance, I mean, it's already a disturbed area to begin
it's
with,
minor.
but they're only putting a, 8-inch pipe
Yeah.
in the ground. So, I recommend you approve a minor project change.
Okay. All set with that?
Yep.
And I'll entertain a motion to accept a minor project change.
So, I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
that's all set. And then,
I don't have any updates on the Eagle Scout project.
no,
And other than that,
sign documents.
I have some bills that need approval, since it's close to the end of the fiscal year, trying to clean up everything we can. While you're doing those, I will mention that the 44 South Main Street would also be coming back on July 18th. If they get
Yep.
any updates.
And while we're doing that, just that note before we adjourn for 44 South Main Street.
Yeah, that was just the only little heads up that that's continued till next meeting. So.
Okay, yeah, that's it for that one, all right. Anything else you guys want to discuss in town going on? Or think about what's going on?
I want to report a turtle crossing.
Lincoln Street?
No. Back
Yeah.
of the firehouse. That pond. Huge turtle like this
Snapper.
was crossing. So shouldn't we put up turtle crossing signs? I assume it was going across the street.
Oh, behind the, in the big pond area for the behind
Yeah,
the
there was the
fire
pond
station?
area.
skating
Yeah.
area?
I had never seen a turtle
Some
there.
trespassing rules on that
I
one.
know. Doesn't have any right to be there.
That's right.
It doesn't?
We did have one also in the town park. There's
Gross.
flags up because there was a female snapping turtle half buried that I got a report on.
Oh, really?
That somebody was thinking it was digging its way back into the river and trying to get there, and no, she was laying her eggs.
Yeah.
Oh, no
And
kidding.
the first 2 weeks of June are typically when snapping turtles will migrate to lay eggs. And so,
Is that the first for that, in the park?
I don't know.
Oh,
First time
I
I've
have two
ever heard of
turtles
it.
that lay in my yard. They
Well,
come
you-
up.
I got bunnies.
Yes.
in mine.
It's so,
Yeah.
not that I'm a huge fan of snapping turtles because they take and eat a lot of ducks and geese and stuff out of the river, but I'm gonna check with Ben and see if he wants to put up a trail camera and watch for a hatching date.
Oh, nice.
Since I know the exact date she laid, we have a rough idea when hatching date might be.
9 months?
No.
Yeah, so
Well,
Just
it's a lot longer than you think.
How long is it?
80 to 90 days.
Is it 89 days?
3 months.
Wow.
well, so I don't know if this turtle that I saw was coming, where it was coming or going from one side of the river to the river on the other side. There's the pond,
Yeah.
Yep.
and there's the road, and then there's some water on the other side.
Hmm.
So you
Could
don't
have been
know,
going,
you don't know where it's going, huh?
yeah, at that point,
Is that the water between,
You and.
right by the Spring Street School there? Right
Yeah.
along in that,
Yeah.
right, it could have
Yeah.
been
near the
heading
house in
towards,
Spring Street.
Yeah.
Hugh and Spring Streets?
right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't think it's right that we discriminate against those turtles we do like and the ones we don't like.
Well, no, just
No, I mean, I'm just,
pick
So-
her up and put her in my pond behind my house. We have plenty of them there.
She doesn't want to live there. She wants
I
to
mean,
live where
thankfully
she-
snapping turtles are big enough that you should be able to see them and avoid them.
I know. This one, I was really, it's still in the grass. I was really surprised to see it there.
Moving rock.
Yeah.
Like, wait,
Making
I'm not
its
a
own
fan of them
drainage.
either, but,
But be careful trying to move them, because they
Yeah, I
can
wouldn't.
snap a stick real quickly.
Well, Chris
Take-
weren't-
That's what I was worried about this one with dogs and kids at the town park,
yeah.
losing
Yeah, so
fingers.
Wait till we get off.
Yeah, because kids don't know. They see on on movies and stuff, turtles are
Yeah.
friendly, right? They don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not a big issue, but
Well, I mean, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
I
All set. Good night, Steve.